I often envision about the kingdom of heaven. How will it be when I'm reading the righteous scriptures and the Most High Yahweh? He sent His Holy Spirit to lead and guide me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. I often envision about the kingdom of heaven. How will it be? Can you envision? I wonder, can you see? Can you imagine how the kingdom of heaven will be? Can you envision? I wonder, do you think? Can you imagine a place where we can truly be free? Can you envision? I wonder, can you see? Can you imagine how the kingdom of heaven will be? I often envision about the kingdom of heaven. How will it be? I just let my imagination run free. There will be no more Jim Crow, that's for sure. Red landed will no longer be. There will be no more strange fruit hanging from the popular tree. You know the first will be last, and the last shall be first. Can you picture that? The road of Esau and Jacob, Israel shall be reversed. Can you envision? I wonder, can you see? Can you imagine how the kingdom of heaven will be? Can you envision? I wonder, do you think? Can you imagine Coming at you with another live out of the shop. I'm Brother Yagda Israel from the fourth son of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. We will be endeavoring to bring forth biblical, historical information from the Bible, from historical books and records. The name of the broadcast is Let Your Light Shine. Title of today's teaching will be It's Back at Ya. Part number 11. Once more again, I'm Brother Yagda Israel from the fourth son of Jacob, whose name was Yagda Judah, whose name was Israel, fourth son Judah, or as we pronounce it in the Shemitic dialect, Yagda. Once more again, I'm Brother Yagda Israel from the fourth son of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. For questions or comments, we can be contacted by phone. The number is area code 331-312-4022. Once more again, for questions or comments, we can be contacted by phone. That number is area code 331-312-4022. You can also be contacted by way of email. That email address is yhdhysrael@gmail.com. If you want to drop us a line, you can do it by way of our email. That email address is yhdhysrael@gmail.com. And like always, we are simultaneously recording. We're recording on Facebook. At the same time, we're recording on our YouTube page. To get to that YouTube page, you can go up under the name of YHDHYSRAEL, as well as the Facebook page. You get to both of those pages up under that name, my brothers, my sisters, my peoples. And like always, we are endeavoring to bring forth biblical and historical information from the Bible, from historical books and records. Our slotted time for the broadcast, we come on Tuesday, roughly around 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. thereabout. Then we do the same thing on Friday. We come on Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We have our Shabbat class, our Sabbath day class, or what the world knows as the Sabbath Saturday, which we call the Sabbath of the Most High Yahweh. And we roughly begin around 2 p.m., my brothers, my sisters, my people. Let me see if there is anything else we need to say. Well, upon yesterday, I had what you call a minor operation, you might as well say. So I'm not really 100%, but nevertheless, we're going to put it in to the best of our ability, my brother. So still a little sore and still recuperating from that minor operation. Just on yesterday, my brothers, my sisters, my peoples. But nevertheless, we are here and we are still breathing. So as long as we got breath, let us praise the Most High Yahweh. O most Heavenly Father Yahweh, we come once more again to give thee thanks. Giving thee praise, O Heavenly Father. Thanking thee for a speedy recovery. Thanking thee for going with us through the minor operation and bringing us through safely. We pray, Father, and thank you for all your many benefits. Roof over our head, clothes on our feet, clothes on our back, shoes on our feet, food on our table, Heavenly Father. We pray for all your many blessings, a mind that is regulated to do those things that are pleasing in your sight. We pray, Father, for that you would give us of your wisdom, your knowledge, your understanding, that we might be able to feed your sheep. Pray, Father, for the 12 tribes of Israel, all those that are calling on your righteous and precious name, those that are striving to keep your statute, your laws, and your commandments. Pray, Father, that you would give us of your wisdom, give us of your strength, give us of your knowledge that we might be able to endure in these last and evil days. Pray, Father, for the 12 tribes of Israel that scattered to the four corners of the globe. Pray that for those that have eyes, but they cannot see. They have ears, O Heavenly Father, but they cannot hear. I pray that you would open up their eyes, that they might see your truth. I stop their ears, O Heavenly Father, that they may hear your word and say, this is the way, and walk therein. These things we pray in your precious Son's name and for his sake. Hallelujah. Qua. Hallelujah. Qua. Hallelujah. Qua. And like always, first thing we do is we bring forth the name that we will be using. We will not be using the traditional name, the Lord God, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, Baal, Ashtaroth, Moloch, Shammuz. But we will be using the 4 letters, which they chose to call the Tetragrammaton. We will be using it exclusively, my brothers, my sisters, my people. Let's peep at a few historical documents. The revelation of Yahweh's name in Yahweh, the Hamashiach. In the New Testament, the significance of the Most High's name is further revealed in the person of Yahweh, the Hamashiach. Yahweh, the Hamashiach, the one you call sweet baby Jesus, embodies the fullness of Yahweh the Father, character and authority. Declares, therefore Yahweh exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name above all names, that at the name of Yahweh, the Hamashiach, every knee should bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess that Yahweh, the Hamashiach, is the anointed of Yahweh the Father. To the glory of Yahweh the Father, the name of Yahweh, the Hamashiach, is thus the ultimate revelation of Yahweh the Father's nature and his redemptive work. So the Most High Yahweh's Son, right? He was given a name that is above every name. And that name came in the 1400 that was delivered to Moses, which is the 4 letters YHWH. That is the name that is above every name. The Tetragrammaton in the New Testament, and it reads, archaeologists have discovered papyrus, fragments of works, which were later included in the canon of the New Testament, dating as far back as the middle of the 2nd century. Of all 5,000 extinct manuscripts, none contain the Shemitic Hebrew, Tetragrammaton, Paleo-Shemitic Hebrew, or Greek transliteration of the Shemitic Hebrew name. One of the most ancient fragments, the Papyrus Codex, designated Chester Petit Papyrus, number 2, page 46, is dated prior to AD 200, contains 9 of the Apostle Paul's letters. In the Chester Petit Papyri, we find KC, and sometimes OC, with a horizontal bar above them in citation of the Shemitic Hebrew Bible, where the Tetragrammaton occurs in the Shemitic Hebrew text. These are abbreviations for Kyrios, which was later translated in the English language as Lord, and Theos, which was later translated as God, normally known as the Numina Sacra, or the sacred name. The abbreviation may not have been part of the other graph, but may have been substituted. As a shorthand sometime later. An alternative thesis has been advanced that Yahweh, YHWH, would have been present in the New Testament, only to be substituted by the Numina Sacra, which came in the 2nd century, my brothers.
It's when you got added into the Shemitic Hebrew scriptures, your Kyrios. When it was translated into the English language, it was translated as Lord. And Theos, which was translated from the Greek tongue to the English language, became your God, your God. You didn't get that before 450 BC, my brothers, my sisters, my people. Let's see how long we can go. We're going to go as long as we can tonight, but like I say, I'm still in a little discomfort, but I'm trying to get it in nevertheless. The Tetragrammaton is the four letters, Shemitic Hebrew language, Theon, transliterated as YHWH, the name of the supreme deity in the Shemitic Hebrew Bible. The four Shemitic Hebrew letters, written and read from right to left, are Yohe, Wahi. The name may be derived from a verb that means to be, to exist, to cause to become, or to come to pass, my brothers, my sisters, my people. Gonna go get us some scriptures to bag up our premise. While we use the four letters exclusively. In Exodus 3, verse 10, it reads, Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt and Mizraim. We're going to drop down to verse number 13. We're going to pick it up at verse 13, and it reads, the book of Exodus 3, verse 13. And Moses said unto Yahweh, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, shall say unto them, Yahweh of your fathers has sent me unto you. And they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? Go drop down to verse 15. The book of Exodus 3, verse 15 reads, Exodus 3. We want to peep at verse 15, and it reads, Yahweh said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Yahweh of your fathers, Yahweh of Abraham, Yahweh of Isaac, Yahweh of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. So the name that was delivered to Moses was four letters. In the Shemitic Hebrew dialect language, alphabets, Yohe Wahi. And we pronounce it Yahweh. That's how we pronounce it, my brothers. But he's on record saying that that would be his name forever. So if he put it out there that that would be his name forever, so you should have never brought in the Greek tongue, Kyrios or Theos, which was translated into the English language as Lord and God. This is how you got your Lord and your God in the Shemitic Hebrew scriptures, what they call the Bible. All you have to do is do a little research, my brothers. It's at your fingertips. At your fingertips, my brothers. So that name didn't become Lord God until 450, after 450 AD. And then it was later translated as in about 1520. Then they came up with a new translation called the Great Bible in about 1539. Then you got your Bishop Bible somewhere around 1578, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And you got your KJV, your King James Version of the Shemitic Hebrew Scriptures, the records of the Israelites that was given by the Most High Yahweh. In 1611 is when you got your first KJV, King James Version, on the market, my brothers, my sisters. And they say that the Bible is the best-selling book worldwide. Your history, Mr. Negro, African American, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Guatemalan, Jamaican, Haitian, but Dominican Republican, your history is the greatest story ever told. And they let you know every year, right? The greatest story ever told, my brothers, my sisters, my people. Let's peep at this thing. See if we can get us a second that emotion. We'll grab us a second that emotion from the book of Acts, chapter 4. Go pick it up at verse 7, and it reads. Acts chapter 4, verse 7. When they had set them in the midst, they asked, by what power, about what name have you done this? We're going to run down to verse number 12. We're going to see what the Apostle Peter let him know exactly what time it is, right? Acts chapter 4, verse 12. Neither there's salvation in any other, but there's none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved, my brothers. Very powerful statement. Must mean there's no other option, no other way, my brothers, other than coming up under the banner of the name, which even the religious leaders of Peter and John's day realized that it was power, not in the name of sweet baby Jesus, power in the name of Yahweh, my brothers, my sisters. There was no other name given whereby we must be saved. Let's grab us another witness. We're going to go to the book of Joel. Want to peep at Joel right quick. Want to look at Joel chapter, what we want in Joel. Chapter 2, we're going to pick it up at verse 27. And we want to read 27 and 32, I believe is what we need. The book of Joel chapter 2, verse 27. And it reads, book of Joel 2, verse 27. And you shall know that I'm in the midst of Israel, that I am Yahweh, your Yahweh, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed. So he's on record in the Most High's word saying that he is the power of Israel. He is the supreme ruler of Israel, my brothers, my sisters. Let's see if we can make that a little bit clear. We would like to make things crystal so you can see right through the lies and hypocrisies that's on the earth today. We're on right to the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus. Sirach chapter 17. We want to peep at verse number 10. Sirach. We want to look at Sirach, Ecclesiasticus. Chapter 17, we're going to pick it up at verse number 10. And it reads, book of Sirach 17, verse 10. And the elect shall praise his righteous name. So the ones that have been chosen, you put your eggs in the basket of the Most High's name, which is 4 letters, YHWH. That is the name of the Most High, the supreme deity, the creator of heaven and earth. Let's peep at this. Verse number 11. And it reads, the book of Sirach, chapter 17. We want to peep at verse 11. Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for a heritage. Who did he do this for? Let's see who he gave the law of life to for a heritage. Now, the word heritage just means a way to live, the way that they should live, my brothers. In other words, they call it your culture today. This is your culture, Mr. African American. This is your culture, Mr. Haitian, Jamaican, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Dominican Republican, so on and so on. He made an everlasting covenant with them, who? The elect. And the only one that was elected or chosen was the 12 tribes of Israel. And he showed them his judgment, my brothers. We read that he is the Yahweh, the power of Israel, and none else. So when he made this agreement with Israel, if you wasn't included then, what make you think all of a sudden you included? Don't make no sense to me, my brothers, my sisters. How can you include somebody else in what the Most High gave you? He can only include them, and there's no record that they were included in the everlasting covenant, my brothers, my sisters. Let's just make it crystal clear. Sirach 17, verse 13. Their eyes saw the majesty, who asked the 12 tribes of Israel of his glory, and their ears heard his great voice. Verse number 14. And he said unto them, beware of all unrighteousness. And he gave every man commandment concerning his neighbor. Who is his neighbor? Now that's something to bring out right quick. Now for the 12 tribes of Israel, who is your neighbor? Let's read that Sirach before we move on down the road. We're going to go to Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. That's where we headed. Leviticus 19. And we want to peep at verse number 17. Because Leviticus 19, and we want to look right at verse 17. But we want to reread this Sirach chapter 17. Where is you go to Sirach 17, verse 14. And he gave unto them, who is the them? The 12 tribes of Israel. Beware of all unrighteousness. And he gave every man of who? Well, this is for the elect, the children of Israel. He gave every man commandment concerning his neighbor, not the one that stay next door to you. He gave them the commandments concerning their neighbor. Now let's peep at that statement. Who will be our neighbor? According to the book of Leviticus. Where is that Leviticus at now? Thought I had it all ready to go, but where did it disappear to? Let me see. There you go. Right back. That the one? Is that the one, Leviticus? Yeah, that's it. I get to Genesis. I want Leviticus chapter 19 and verse number, gonna pick it up at verse number 17. Leviticus 19, and we want to start this at verse 17, and it reads, Book of Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy mind. Now we need to make sure that we understand. We're trying to figure out who our neighbor that the Most High is talking about in Sirach, Ecclesiasticus. Now it says, thou shalt not hate thy brother. So let's pull out and make it plain today. We're going to take it nice and easy because, like I say, I'm still experiencing a little pain, but I still want to get it in to the best of my ability. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 15. We want to find out who is our brother according to the scriptures. Who would be our brothers? My brothers. Let's just make it plain and clear. Deuteronomy 15, verse 12. And if thy brother, an Israelite man or an Israelite woman, my brothers. So our brothers and sisters are those of our own nation, the nation of Israel. Let's get back to that now. Where were we at? Leviticus, right? What happened to my Leviticus? Where did you disappear to? Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. So we find out who our brother is. It's from the Israelite man or an Israelite woman. Now let's see if we can determine, according to what we was reading in Surah, about he gave us commandments how to deal with our brothers, our neighbor, my brothers, my sisters. Leviticus 19:17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother. We find out it's an Israelite man or woman. In your mind, you shall in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. So now we got neighbor, and we dealing with our brothers, our sisters, right? And not suffer sin upon them. And sin is the transgression of Yahweh's statute laws and his commandments. So we are not to see you doing contrary to the Yahweh and just keep our mouth shut, right? Verse number 18, my brothers, my sisters. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of who? Of your people. But thou shalt love thy neighbor. So who is our neighbor? The children of our people. The children of our nation. Yeah, we have a nation. It's not America. It's not Haiti, Jamaica. It's not Cuba, Mexico, Puerto Rico. Our nationality is we are the children of Israel from the 12 tribes coming through the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who was given a heavenly name called Israel. And the name of Israel means you are a prince, a princess, and you have power with Yahweh and with man, my brothers, my sisters, who wouldn't want to bear that heavenly name. Because it's blessing in that name, my brothers, my sisters. So our neighbor are the people, the children of our people, the children of our nation, the people of the children of our Goyim, the people of the children of our ethnos, the people of the children of our strangers, the people of the children of our Gentiles, our nation, my brothers. That's who our neighbor, that's who our brothers and sisters be. No doubt about it. Now let's get back to that Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. We're going to take it nice and slow, like I say. I'm in a little discomfort tonight, so trying not to agitate. Trying to still recover a little bit around here, my brothers, my sisters. Ecclesiasticus 17, verse 14. And he said unto them, beware of all unrighteousness. And he gave every man, woman, commandments concerning how to deal with your brother, your sister, your people, your neighbor, my brothers, my sisters. If we would just follow what have been written, our community be the greatest community on the planet of Earth, my brothers. Such you was created to be above all people. That's what you was given. The right to be above all people. Let's see if we can get through this. Verse number 15, and it reads, their way are ever before him. So Israel, whether you think you African American, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Guatemalan, Colombian, whether you think you Ecuadorian, whether you think you Dominican Republic, Haitian, Jamaican, the Most High's eyes are always watching you. According to what we can read Their ways are ever before him, and shall not be hid from his eyes. Verse number 16, and it reads, every man from his youth is given to evil, neither could they make to themselves fleshly minds for stony. Verse 17, for in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Israel is Yahweh's portion. So he set a ruler over every nation. Now we're going to deal with that tonight. We're going to bring the nations back on the table before we really start hitting it hard about it's back at you. You know what I mean? We want to put the foundation down, make it solid. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Israel is Yahweh's portion, my brothers, my people. So what kind of ruler did he set over the other 17 nations? We want to run to the book of Jubilee. We want to peep at Jubilee. Chapter 15, we're going to pick it up at verse number 29. We want to peep at the book of Jubilee. We want to run to chapter 15. And we want to peep at verse number 29. We want to read a little bit of this. Who did he set over the other 17 nations? And all those that came from that tree, the branches from the tree of those 17 nations. Let me see if I can pull this out. I want to go to the book of Jubilee, chapter 15, my brothers. We want to stroll down to about verse number 29. See if I can pull that out. Jubilee 15. And we want to peep at verse number 29. See if we can grab that. Jubilee 15. Verse number 29 reads, for the command is ordained for a covenant, that they shall observe it forever among all the children of Israel. Verse 30, for Ishmael and his sons and his brothers. So everybody that come up out of Ishmael. Now Ishmael is proclaimed to be what we know today as the so-called Arab nations, my brothers. They claim descent from Abraham's first son with the handmaid Hagar, Ishmael. So that's why they came up with a religion called Islam, because Yahweh gave them, he set a ruler over them. And we found out the only one that he took rulership over is the 12 tribes of Israel. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau. Now, who is Esau? Who would that be today? That would be your friendly neighborhood white man, woman, boy, and girl. That's why they came up with the religion called Christianity, my brothers, my sisters. We read that the Most High gave us commandments how to deal with our brothers and sisters, right? Yahweh did not choose them. What? Yahweh did not choose them to come to him. And he did not choose them, although they are the children of Abraham. He knew them, but he chose Israel to be his people, my brothers. Read a little bit more of this. He sanctified them and gathered them from among all the children of men. For there are many nations and many people, and all are his. And over all nations, what did he do? He has placed spirits. That meaning angels. What kind of angels though? In authority to lead them astray from him. So that's why they tell you that the law is done away with, my brothers, my sisters, because that's their occupation. They are controlled by spirits, unclean spirits, to keep them away from the Most High. And we read in the book of Joel 2:27, right? That he's in the midst of Israel, that he's our power, and that nobody else is included. So how did they get included after the death of the Hamashiach? Has all of a sudden, right? You part of the covenant that was made with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. Do that really make sense that the Most High will alter his word? Let's peep at his word. We're going to run to the book of Psalms. Let me see what I want to pull out right quick. Psalms, I need a statement in the book of Psalms about his word. Psalms, let me see if I can pull this out. I want to run to Psalms, I want to say chapter 12. Let me see if I can hit the nail on the head. My brothers, my sisters, my people. Gonna nicely walk this stream through tonight because, like I say, I'm not 100%, but I'm going to give it what I got. Let me look at Psalms chapter 12, I believe. And let's peep at, or is it 7:12? Which way you go? Let me try 7 and verse number 12. Sounds like it might be the right one. Oh, yeah, I think this is it. Is this the one I'm looking for? No, that ain't the one. It must be 1270. Let me see if I can get this thing right. Psalm chapter 12, verse 7. I'm missing the boat. Let me go and see if I can pull that out. Oh, Yahweh. I know Psalms. I thought it was 7:12 or 12:7. Maybe 17. I don't know. Well, it's 12:6. I'm not that far off. 12:6. Let's see what they read. The word of Yahweh are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. So the Most High don't have to go back and readjust his word. He made a covenant with the 12 tribes of Israel. Those that come through the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, because his word is pure. It's been proven 7 times, and 7 always mean to the utmost, completely, my brothers, my sisters. So his word's been purified 7 times. Let's peep at his words. We're going to go to the book of Psalms, chapter 19. And we're going to peep at verse number 19:7. The book of Psalm 19, verse 7. And it reads, the law of Yahweh is what? Perfect. So anything perfect, you can't add to perfection, can you? What do it do? Converting the people. The testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. So Yahweh's word has been tried 7 times. It's purified 7 times. His laws are perfect, my brothers. So so when you cross the book of John, the Gospel of John, all of a sudden things been altered. I beg to differ. How can you add to that which is perfect? So if he made the covenant with Israel, let's go back to that Sirach now. Let's go back to that Sirach chapter 17. my brothers, my sisters. Verse number 17 reads, for in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Israel is Yahweh's portion. Verse 18, who being his firstborn, he nourished with discipline, and giving him the light of his love, does not. Israel, you're not forsaken. Even Paul said that. Has Yahweh cast away his people? Yahweh forbid. For I am an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Ain't that right? But Paul said, I'm from the tribe of Benjamin, from the seed of Abraham, my brothers. This is about nationhood. This is where the revolution is going to be won. It's not going to be won with the political system of your enemy, my brothers. Not going to be won. That ain't the battle. It's not going to be won there. The revolution is going to be fought between the pages of what you know as the Bible. That's where the minds of men will be changed, converted. The people of Israel come back to your heritage, your culture, my brothers, my sisters, my people. Let's get back to the name game. We always get off track, but we got to cover what we got to cover. And we're going to go back to that Joel chapter 2, verse 27. And you shall know that I'm in the midst of Israel, and that I'm Yahweh, your Yahweh, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed. We're going to drop down to verse 32. Last verse in Joel chapter 2. Verse 32 reads, and it shall come to pass. That means this is going to happen, my brothers. Word of Yahweh will not return to him void, but it will accomplish that which he set forth out to do, and the things and where it pleases him, my brothers. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be delivered. For in Judah and in Israel shall be deliverance, as Yahweh said, and in the remnant whom Yahweh shall call. So we know it's only going to be a remnant that come back to this thing. It's already foretold. We want to peep at that word while we engaging. Let me see if I can get a definition on that word called remnant, my brothers, my sisters. We want to look at this word called remnant. A small remaining quantity of something, or in this case, of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? Remnant. Let me see if we can get a secondary emotion. What we got going on around here? Now, that ain't going to work there. Let me see if I can move on down to Miriam. What did you say, Miriam? What do this word? You ain't going to talk to me? Okay. Remnant. A usually small part. Slow as I'll get up there. Usually a small part, member, or trace remaining. A small surviving group. So he said only a small group of the 12 tribes of Israel is going to be able to survive the onslaught, the destruction that's on its way right around the corner. As I say in Matthew 24, it's even at the door, my brothers. It's time to return to the Most High. Only one way to escape the destruction that's on the way, my brothers. According to the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5. Let me peep at that statement right quick. See if I can go grab me some First Thessalonians. Chapter 5, and we want to peep at verse number 9. First Thessalonians chapter 5. And we want to look at verse number 9. Book of First Thessalonians 5. We want to peep at verse number 9. And it reads. First Thessalonians 5, verse 9. Well, let's pick it up at verse 1. Let's read a little bit of this. Some good stuff here. First Thessalonians 5, verse number 9 reads, but of the times and seasons, brethren. Now we know who our brother is now, according to the scriptures. Israelite man or an Israelite woman. Our neighbor is those of our people. But of the times and the season, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. So Paul is writing this letter to Thessalonica for show. But to his brethren that's located, that's living in that land. And we know they there because we can read it in the book of Acts 18, verse number 1, that they are in Thessalonica, my brothers. You have no need that I write unto you. Paul is saying you got the information just like I got it. And he's talking to his brethren, his people. 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 2. For yourself know perfectly that the day of Yahweh so cometh as a thief in the night. Verse number 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child. And what he say, they shall not. Ain't no way out, my brothers, my sisters. Now this is, Paul is addressing what should be the judgment of the other 17 nations. All of the branches from that tree, right? Of the 17 nations. Verse number 4. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, that their day should overtake you as a thief. Verse 5. You are the children of light, the children of the Most High, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. So our heritage is not evil and wickedness. He gave us the commandments for our heritage, my brothers. His statute laws and his commandments. Verse number 6. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch. That means pay attention to what's going on, right? And be sober. Be clear about the things of the Most High Yahweh. Verse number 7. For they that sleep, sleep in the night. And they that be drunken are drunken in the night. Verse 8. But let us who are of the day, the children of light, be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope. Now you ain't saved. We only hoping, right? Hoping and praying and trying to live and striving to live according to Yahweh's statute, laws, and commandments. We can read in the, I believe it's in Sirach, what said that the commandments, or second Esdras, the commandments will bring us to life. And that life is the eternal life. Verse number 9. And it reads, for Yahweh hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by Yahweh, the Hamashiach. And we know in the book of Matthew 24, about 31, 32. And in Deuteronomy 32, he going to give his angels charge, Psalm 91, to keep you. Who is the youth? The one that was not appointed to wrath. The children of Israel. Who amongst them? Those that are in the secret place of the Most High. Where's the secret place? In keeping his statute laws and his commandments. That is the only place of safety when destruction in its full force come to this side of the earth, my brothers, my sisters, my people. But let me grab a few more concerning the name. I know we always get bogged down, but it is what it is. Exodus 9, verse 16. And in very deed for this cause have I raised thee up, for to show in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Gonna grab us one more, and then we're gonna get ready to prep for our clips. You know how we do it. This is our format. This is the way we roll, my brothers, till otherwise instructed. Colossians 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of Yahweh, the Hamashiach, giving thanks to Yahweh the Father by him. So whatever we do, we put Yahweh front and center. My brothers, my sisters, my people. Let's see what we can get into now. We're going to our intermission portion. Let me see what we got going on. Where is our intermission? There you go.
As I open my eyes to another day, I see the sunrise, and I begin to say, ooh, Yahweh creation, ooh, it's so amazing. So marvelous. And I wanna thank you for giving me another day. Ooh, I wanna thank you. I wanna praise your name for giving me another chance. I wanna praise you. I wanna give you thanks for giving me your mercy and your grace. As I open my eyes to another day, I see the sunrise, and I begin to say, ooh, Yahweh creation, ooh, it's so amazing. So marvelous. And I wanna thank you for giving me another day. Ooh, I wanna thank you. I wanna praise your name for giving me another chance. I wanna praise you. I wanna give you thanks for giving me your mercy and your grace.
They call us African Americans today, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now.
I'm Benjamin. They call us West Indians now, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up
I'm
now.
Levi. They call us Haitians now, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now. I'm Ephraim. They call us Puerto Ricans, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now. I'm Manasseh. They call us Cubans now, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now. I'm Simeon. They call us Dominicans now, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now. I'm Zebulon. They call us Hondurans and Guatemalans, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now. I'm Gad. They call us Native Americans, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now. I'm Reuben. They call us Seminoles, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now. I'm Asher. They call us Colombians, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now. I'm Issachar. They call us Mexicans, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now. I'm Naphtali. They call us Chileans and Argentinians, and Deuteronomy 28 fits us. We waking up now.
Six million people vanished from the American South between 1910 and 1970. Not into the ocean, not into the ground, into the North. And America has never fully explained to itself what that means, or why it happened, or what it cost, or what it built. This is that explanation. The letter arrived on a Tuesday morning in the spring of 1917. It had been folded so many times that the creases were wearing through the paper, passed from hand to hand through 3 counties before it finally reached a sharecropper's cabin outside of Yazoo City, Mississippi. The man who received it couldn't read. His wife could, barely, the way people read when education was something you stole in corners. She read it out loud in a voice barely above a whisper, because the wrong person hearing the wrong thing in the wrong part of Mississippi had gotten men killed. The letter was from her cousin in Chicago. He'd been there 8 months. He had a job at a meatpacking plant on the south side. He was making $18 a week. His children were in a school with real desks and a teacher who called them by their names. He said the cold was something you had to experience to believe. He said it nearly killed him the first winter. He said, to come anyway. Come anyway. Whatever you have to leave behind, leave it. Whatever you have to sell, sell it. Get on the train. Get out. Come anyway. The man and his wife sat in that cabin for a long time after she finished reading. They looked at each other across a table that wobbled because one leg was shorter than the other's. They thought about the debt they owed a landlord who'd been adding to it every year for a decade in ways that made no mathematical sense, in ways that could never be paid off no matter how good the cotton harvest was, because that was the design. They thought about their oldest son walking 7 miles to a school that operated 4 months out of 12, because white farmers needed the children in the fields for the other 8. They thought about James Turner's boy, 19 years old, accused of something that may or may not have been true, and what the men with torches did about it on a Wednesday night in October, and how James Turner stood there and watched, because there was nothing else to do, and remained in that county afterward, because there was nowhere else to go. They thought about all of it, and then the woman folded the letter back along its worn creases and said, "We're going." 6 weeks later, they were on a northbound Illinois Central train with 2 children, 4 suitcases, $12, and something that had no physical weight, but felt heavier than everything else. Hope. The terrifying, irrational, necessary thing called hope. They were not alone on that train. They would not be alone again in quite the same way, because they were part of something that had already started and would not stop for 60 years. Something historians would later contain in neutral language, calling it a demographic shift, a population movement, a migration pattern. Those words don't come close. What it actually was a revolution. 6 million Black Americans refusing a verdict that an entire system had spent 250 years writing. 6 million people saying no to something that had never been successfully refused before. The Great Migration. The movement of 6 million Black Americans from the rural South to the urban North between 1910 and 1970. 6 million people who changed every city they touched, every industry they entered, every art form they encountered, every political coalition they joined. 6 million people who did not just move across a map. They moved America itself. But to understand why they left, you have to understand what they were leaving. Not just the facts of it, the daily texture of a life built inside a system engineered specifically to make freedom impossible. You have to go back. Back before the trains, back before the letters, back before Chicago and Detroit and Harlem. Back to what the South was, what it had been built to be, and what it remained for Black Americans long after the war that was supposed to have ended it. The Civil War finished in April of 1865. The Confederacy surrendered. 4 million people were legally free for the first time in their lives, and the lives of their parents and grandparents stretching back past memory to ships crossing an ocean in chains. 4 million people with nothing. No land, no money, no contracts, no protection, just freedom, which turned out to be a word that meant different things depending on who was doing the defining. For one brief, extraordinary moment, it looked like it might actually mean something. Reconstruction. The 12 years between 1865 and 1877, when the federal government tried, imperfectly, inconsistently, to build a biracial democracy in the South. Black men voted in massive numbers. Black men were elected to Congress, to state legislatures, to local offices. Black families acquired land. Black schools opened. A future started to take shape. Then it ended. Not gradually, not with regret. It ended because white Southern Democrats and Northern Republicans struck a deal in 1877 that used Black Americans as bargaining chips and didn't bother to tell them. Rutherford Hayes got the presidency. Southern Democrats got the federal troops removed from the South, and without those troops standing between Black citizens and the men who'd owned them 15 years earlier, everything built during Reconstruction came apart with vicious, organized speed. The men who'd lost the Civil War had spent 12 years waiting. Patient men. Organized men. Men who understood that power, once lost, could be reclaimed through systems rather than battles.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari.
Need to fight the federal government. They just needed to wait until the federal government decided black people were no longer worth protecting. In 1877, that moment arrived. What replaced Reconstruction was Jim Crow. Not one law. An entire architecture of racial control built across every southern state simultaneously, refined over decades, enforced through law and violence and economics, until it became the invisible water that everyone in the South swam through without thinking. Unless you were black. If you were black, you thought about it every hour of every day, because one wrong move could get you killed. Jim Crow started with voting, because the first thing you do when you want to control people is make sure they cannot participate in their own governance. Mississippi led the way in 1890 with a new state constitution, and the men drafting it were transparent about their intentions. They said it out loud in official proceedings. Poll taxes, literacy tests designed to be failed, where white registrars could ask black applicants to interpret obscure legal passages to their personal satisfaction, a satisfaction that could be withheld regardless of what the applicant actually said. Grandfather clauses, white primaries, residency requirements. State by state, black men who had voted in large numbers during Reconstruction found the door locked. By 1900 in Mississippi, a state where black people were the majority of the population, fewer than 6,000 black voters remained on the rolls. By 1910, the number was approaching zero. Without votes, no advocates in the rooms where laws were made. Without advocates, every law reflected only the interests of white Southerners who had no interest in black welfare and every interest in black subordination. The laws they passed weren't subtle. Separate railroad cars, separate waiting rooms, separate water fountains, separate schools, separate hospitals, separate cemeteries. Black people could not try on clothing in stores, could not sit at restaurant counters, could not use the same libraries. The separation was total and enforced not just by law, but by custom. And in the Jim Crow South, the difference between violating a custom and violating a law was often nothing at all. But the genius of the system, if you can call evil genius, was that the political and social control rested on an economic foundation that made everything else possible. Sharecropping, the arrangement that replaced slavery in practice while denying it in name. A black family farmed a white man's land. They bought seeds, tools, and food on credit from the white man's store, at prices the white man set. At harvest, they paid back the credit from their share of the crop, at prices the white man calculated, using measurements the white man controlled. The account never cleared. Every year, somehow, no matter how strong the harvest, they ended up deeper in debt than the year before. And that debt was a chain. You could not leave a county while you owed money. Sheriffs enforced it. Courts enforced it. And behind the courts and the sheriffs stood something that required no enforcement at all. Violence. Not random violence. Systematic, ritualized, public violence designed to serve one specific purpose. To make freedom feel more dangerous than bondage. To make ambition feel like suicide. To make any black person thinking about resistance think instead about what happened to the last person who tried. Between 1877 and 1950, more than 4,000 black men and women and children were lynched in the American South. That number comes from careful documentation by organizations like the NAACP, who understood that naming and counting the dead was itself a political act. 4,000 is likely an undercount. What the records do show is a geography and a consistency that makes the word random impossible to apply. The lynchings concentrated in counties where black economic progress was most visible. They spiked after elections, where black turnout surged. They were announced in advance in local newspapers, treated as public events. Families brought children. Photographers took pictures. Postcards were made and mailed. Someone photographed what had been done to a human being and dropped it in an envelope and sent it through the United States Postal Service, and the postal worker stamped it and passed it along, and no one considered this aberrant. It was communication. It was a lesson. And the lesson was received exactly as intended. Every black family in the surrounding county understood, without anyone explaining it, that the same thing could happen to them, to their husband, to their son. For any reason or for no reason, at any moment, and there was no court that would stop it, no law that would punish it, no authority that would intervene. The terror was not incidental to the system. The terror
If you live in the United
The terror was the system. Alongside lynching came convict leasing. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery except as punishment for crime. That exception was not an oversight. Southern states used it as a blueprint. Vagrancy laws, labor contract laws, laws criminalizing things that had never previously been crimes, designed specifically to criminalize black existence. A black man without verifiable employment could be arrested. A black worker who left a job before his contract expired could be arrested. Once convicted, prisoners were leased to private companies, railroad companies, mining operations, timber companies, industries that built the infrastructure of the New South on the labor of men who were enslaved by another name, dying at rates that shocked even contemporary observers, with no advocates, no rights, and no hope of release. The men operating these systems were not ashamed. They defended them in state legislatures as evidence of Southern ingenuity. The men dying in the camps were not considered fully human by the people profiting from them. That made everything easier. It always does. And underneath all of it, under the poll taxes and the debt and the public violence and the forced labor, was something harder to quantify, but perhaps most destructive of all. The daily psychological weight of performing a role, the constant calculation required of every black person in the Jim Crow South just to survive the day. The way you had to speak to white people, the way you had to look at them or refuse to look at them, the way you had to absorb insults, casual cruelty, deliberate humiliation, with deference, with politeness, with a performance of gratitude for being allowed to exist in proximity to people who had decided you were less than human. The way black mothers taught their children how to move through this world. What to say, what never to say. Where you could go, where you absolutely could never go. Not for any reason, not under any circumstance. Because if you forgot for one moment, you might not come home. And they had to teach these things to their children while pretending everything was normal. This is what they were leaving. Not just poverty. Poverty you can work through. Not just discrimination. Discrimination you can navigate around. A comprehensive system of racial control built with extraordinary care and maintained with extraordinary violence for the explicit purpose of making it impossible for black Americans to live as free people on American soil. A system they had been told, in ways that required no words, was permanent. That the South was their home and their prison, and that the line between those two things was enforced by men with guns, and men with ledgers, and men with torches, and men who would stand in a courthouse and swear to God they'd seen things they hadn't seen. What they didn't know was that the order was about to crack. Not because the federal government moved, not because white Southerners had a change of heart. It cracked because of a bug. The boll weevil arrived in Texas from Mexico in 1892 and spent the next 20 years eating the cotton economy of the South alive. By 1915, it had moved through Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, the Carolinas, leaving fields that had produced wealth for generations producing nothing. Sharecropping families who'd been locked in debt for decades found themselves in a different kind of crisis. Not just debt, starvation. The crops that had trapped them were the same crops that had fed them. When the crops failed, the trap remained, but the food was gone. At the same time, a war was happening in Europe. American factories supplying it were running short of workers because the war had stopped immigration from Eastern and Southern Europe almost completely. Factory owners who had never considered hiring black workers were running different calculations now. Not moral ones, economic ones. An empty factory loses money. A black worker could run a machine as well as anyone else. And there were black workers available, millions of them, locked in a Southern economy that was failing and a social system they despised, waiting for any door to open even slightly. It opened. Not wide, not welcoming, just enough. The Illinois Central and other northern rail lines began running special trains south, black passengers boarding at reduced fares, riding north toward cities that were cold and strange and unwelcoming in their own ways, but not built to kill you. The Chicago Defender, the black newspaper founded by Robert Abbott in 1905, published stories about factory wages that seemed impossible to people making $2 a week in Georgia, $18 a week, $25. The Defender moved hand to hand through black communities across the South, often in secret, because white Southerners understood immediately what it was and tried to suppress it. Possessing a copy in parts of Alabama and Mississippi could get you run out of town. People read it anyway. They always do. And the letters arrived, from cousins and brothers and church friends who had made it north, describing apartments with real floors and schools with real books, describing wages that felt like hallucinations, saying it's hard but it's possible, saying the white people here won't treat you right either. Make no mistake. But they can't do what they do down there. There are nights here when you can sleep without listening for horses. Come anyway. Come anyway. Come anyway. And they came. First a trickle. By 1916, a stream. By 1917 and 1918, something historians would need a word larger than migration to describe. Tens of thousands a month on the Illinois Central alone. Southern plantation owners panicked. They had men arrested at train stations. They blocked boarding. They bribed railroad agents and enforced vagrancy laws at depots specifically to stop the departure. They tried everything because they finally understood something they had perhaps always known but never needed to say. The system required the people it oppressed to stay inside it. The moment the exit appeared, even a partial one, even an imperfect one pointing toward a different kind of hard, the system became fragile in ways it had never been fragile before. You cannot threaten someone with death if they can choose difficulty. Terror only controls people who have no alternative. And for the first time in generations, Black Americans had one. Insufficient, limited, pointed toward cities with their own forms of cruelty, but an alternative. A train ticket north, a cousin's letter, a city on a map 3 states away from everything that had ever tried to kill you. This is where the story really begins. Not in the cities they arrived in, not in the cultural explosion that followed, not in the political transformation that reshaped American democracy, or the musical revolution that reshaped the world. Here, in the decision. In the moment when men and women who had been told their entire lives that they had no choices, looked at each other across tables that wobbled because one leg was shorter than the others, and made one anyway. The choice to leave would produce jazz and blues, and the Harlem Renaissance and Motown and the Civil Rights Movement, and James Baldwin and Richard Wright and Ella Fitzgerald and Muddy Waters and Marvin Gaye and Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. It would reshape every northern city it touched, every industry it entered, every political coalition it joined. It would change American music, American politics, American food, American language, American consciousness in ways so deep that most Americans don't even know they're living inside them. This is that story. Not a simple one.
The next 6 months are going to change the America you grew up in.
Clean. Not with heroes on one side and villains on the other. Though there are villains, clear ones, built into the law and the land itself. It is the story of what happens when millions of human beings refuse what history prepared for them, what they build in its place, what it costs, what it changes, and why, more than a century later, everything recognizably American still carries their fingerprints. 6 million people got on trains, and the country they left behind and the country they arrived in were never the same again. Neither was the world. There was a moment on the Illinois Central Railroad, somewhere in southern Illinois, when the train crossed a line that had no physical marker. No sign, no fence, no change in the color of the fields outside the window. But every black passenger on that train knew exactly when it happened. They had been watching for it, counting the miles. Some of them had been told the precise location by cousins who had made the trip before. When the train crossed the Ohio River, you were out. You were in the North. You were, in some legal and geographical sense, that the next several decades would test severely. Free. People cried. Strangers embraced each other. Grown men who had maintained composure through the entire journey, through the segregated waiting rooms in Memphis, through the white conductors who handled their tickets with contempt, through the hours of pretending to sleep to avoid conversations that might go wrong, broke down completely when the river disappeared behind them. A woman named Ida Mae Brandon Gladney, who made the journey from Mississippi to Chicago in 1937, and whose story was later documented in Isabel Wilkerson's Essential History of the Migration, described watching a man fall to his knees in the aisle of the train when Illinois appeared outside the window. Just fell to his knees, right there, and pressed his forehead against the seat in front of him. Nobody said anything. Nobody had to. They all understood. They were leaving the only world they had ever known for a world they had only heard described. And the distance between those two things, between the described and the actual, would turn out to be one of the defining experiences of the 20th century. To understand how this movement happened, how 6 million people coordinated a departure from a society that was actively trying to prevent it, you have to understand the infrastructure that made it possible. Because leaving the Jim Crow South was not simple. It was not a matter of deciding to go and going. There were forces working hard to prevent it, and those forces had tools, legal ones and violent ones, and they were not shy about using either. The first piece of infrastructure was a newspaper, the Chicago Defender, founded in 1905 by a man named Robert Sangstack Abbott, printed on a kitchen table in a Bronzeville apartment with borrowed money and absolute.
All right, we back. Once more again, I'm Brother Yagda Israel from the fourth son of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. For questions or comments, we can be contacted by phone. The number is area code 331-312-4022. Once more again, for questions or comments, we can be contacted by phone. That number is area code 331-312-4022. You can also be contacted by way of our email. That email address is yhdhysrael@gmail.com. Once more again, that email address is yhdhysrael@gmail.com. My brothers, my sisters, and the name of the broadcast is Let Your Light Shine. Title of today's teaching is It's Back at You. Part number 11. My brothers, my sisters, my people. Go open up in the book of Luke, chapter 12. Verse number 12. The book of Luke, chapter 12. Verse number 12 reads, For the righteous spirit shall teach you in the same hour what you ought to say. And we believe that, my brothers, my sisters, that in that very same hour, the righteous spirit will teach you what you ought to say. Let's look at this thing. We'll run to St. John 16, verse 13, and it reads, Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak. And he will show you things to come. So, my brothers and sisters, the righteous spirit, the spirit of truth, his job is to guide us into all truth, my brothers, my sisters, my people. Let's run to St. John 8, verse 32. Book of St. John, chapter 8. We want to peep at verse number 32. Book of St. John 8, verse 32. Let's see what's truth. The book of St. John, chapter 8, verse 32. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Verse 33. They answered him, we be Abraham's seed, and we're never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, you shall be made free? Verse number 34. Yahweh answered them, truly, truly I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin. Verse 35. And the servant abideth not in the house forever, but the Son abideth forever. Verse 36. And it reads, book of St. John 8, verse 36. If the Son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. My brothers, my sisters, see what we can get off into. Run to the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 16. There is no end of all the people, even all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. So everyone that came after the flood, guess what? They still right here today. They come from one of the branches of the 18 nations in the book of Genesis. And we just want to peep at that right quick. So there is no end of all the people. So if you exist after the flood, guess what? You still around. We know there's one individual that want to hide himself, though. He want to hide. He want to hide behind everybody else's nationality. But he don't want to pick up his own, right? The book of Ecclesiastes 1, verse number 9. In the regular KJV, it reads, the things that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Ain't nothing new, my brothers. The way he laid it out in the first 5 books and the prophets, the law and the prophets, ain't nothing changed. So if you say that, I ought to say you've been included in the covenant made between the Most High, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I know you just telling a sweet lie. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Verse number 10. If there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new. It had been already a wind of old time, which was before us, my brothers. So the Most High don't change. He the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let's read that. Let's run to the book of, what's that, Malachi 3, verse 8. Is that Malachi chapter 3, verse number 8? Well, I want to read verse 7 before I get to 8. Malachi 3, verse, I think it's 6, though. Let's grab 6. For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore you sons of Israel are not consumed. He said if he would change, that remnant he already said would be here when it's all said and done, after the boom, boom, kaboom, the destructions. We read that in the book of 1 Thessalonians 5, verse number 9. We were not appointed to wrath, But we know that there will be a remnant that remain after the total destruction, my brothers. For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore you sons of Israel are not consumed. Let's see if we can get a second witness. We're going to run to the book of the Israelites. The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse number 8. Book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse number 8. Yahweh the HaMashiach. Now you say he done changed. He came and changed things. But let's see what he say. Yahweh the HaMashiach, the same yesterday, today, and forever. My brothers, my sisters, my people. Let's peep at this. Who do the Most High give his wisdom, his knowledge, his understanding to? Who deserves what he got to offer in the book of Sirach? We're going to write to Sirach chapter 1, verse 5. The word of Yahweh, Most High, is the fountain of wisdom, and her ways are everlasting commandments. Verse 6. To whom have the root of wisdom been revealed, or who have known her wise counsel? Verse 7. Unto whom have the knowledge of wisdom have been made manifest, and who have understood her great enterprise. So who did he reveal his wisdom, his knowledge, his understanding to? Let's see if we can grab us an answer. In Sirach, Ecclesiastes 1, verse 26. If thou desire wisdom, what we got to do? Keep the commandments, and Yahweh shall give her unto thee. So the ones he give his wisdom, his knowledge, his understanding to are those that are striving to keep his statutes, his laws, and his commandments. Let's go back to that. Where were we at? Hebrews 13:8. Yahweh the HaMashiach, the same yesterday when he walked the planet. Today ain't nothing changed, and forever it's going to be the same, my brothers. My sisters, when did he change things? When did he make another a covenant with the other 17 nations? We read that he set a rule over them to keep them away from him. But Israel is Yahweh's portion. Let's look at this thing. My brothers, my sisters, I'm trying to take it easy tonight, but you know, this word gets you all fired up. Genesis 6, verse 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters was born unto them. Verse 2. That the sons of Yahweh, who was the sons of Yahweh? Those that came through the bloodline of Adam and Seth. Those were the sons of Yahweh. The sons of Yahweh saw the daughters of men. Who were the daughters of men? Those that came through the bloodline of Canaan. The vagabond, right? Those were the daughters of men. So those that was of Yahweh started getting hooked up with those of the world, my brothers. And they took them wives of all which they chose. They was looking at them thick hips and thick lips. And they just couldn't resist it, my brothers. You know how it go. Verse number 3. The outside appearance. You know that's what we focus on, right? Genesis 6, verse 3. And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. Verse number 4. We're going to drop down to verse number 5. We don't need this verse number 4. Let's just move on down to verse number 5. And it reads, the book of Genesis 6, verse 5. And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his mind was only evil continually. And you know what the scriptures say, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be when the Son of Man return, right? Let's peep at these last days. Let's see what's going on in these last days, my brother. We want to run to, I believe I want to look at 1 Timothy. I want to peep at 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse number 1. Let me see if I can hit the nail on the head. In 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse number 1. Because the Most High is on record saying that the wickedness of man, every thought was on wickedness, evil, continually. Let's peep at this thing. This is a true saying. Now, that ain't the one I want. What I'm looking for. Let me try 2 Timothy then. Let me try me some 2 Timothy, because that ain't what I'm looking for. 2 Timothy 3, verse number 1. This look to be more like it. 2 Timothy 3, verse 1 reads, this know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come, right? Verse number 2, for men shall be lovers of their own self, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. Verse number 3, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontent, fierce, despisers of those that are striving to keep Yahweh's statute laws and his commandments. My brothers, my sisters, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Yahweh, having a form of Yahwehliness. Yeah, they got a form. It's called religions, my brothers. That's what that form is called today. These man-made religions. And if you look it up, you find out that everyone that you put your hat on, one of your slave masters instituted that thing, my brothers, my sisters, your enemy, having a form of Yahwehliness, but what? Denying the power thereof. From such, he said, get away from that mess, right? It's time to come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sin, and that you receive not of her plagues. But let's get back down to this. Let's go back to that Genesis chapter 6, verse number 5. And it reads, and Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, that every imagination of the thoughts of his mind was only evil continually. Verse number 7. And it repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his mind, my brothers, in the deepest part of his being. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man, whom I created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and creeping things, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made man. We're going to go to 2nd Esdras. We're going to pick this up in 2nd Esdras, my brothers. Let's run to 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha, what they call the Apocrypha. 2nd Esdras chapter 3. And we're going to pick this up at verse number 9. 2nd Esdras chapter 3, verse 9. And it reads, let's see if we can follow up this statement. And again, in process of time, thou broughtest the flood upon those that dwelt in the world, and destroyed them. Verse number 10. And it came to pass in every of them, that as death was to Adam, so was the flood to those. Verse number 11. Nevertheless, one of them thou leftest, namely Noah, with his household, his family, of whom came all righteous men, my brothers, my sisters. So the only one that were left this side of the flood was Noah and his family, his household. Let's look at this thing. We want to run back to the book of Genesis. Where did Genesis go? Genesis chapter 6. I'm going to pick it up at verse number 13. So Yahweh destroyed men and left only Noah and his family during the time of the flood. The book of Genesis 6, verse 13. And Yahweh said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence. Now, ain't that happening today? Every time you turn around, you hear of an Israelite boy, girl, hanging themselves, so they say. We know that's a lie. Or jumping off a boat and drowning themselves. We know that's a lie. My brothers, my sisters, we are living in violent times, my brothers. And Yahweh said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Verse number 14. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shall pitch in it, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. Verse number 15. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. Verse number 16. And windows shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. So Noah made the ark 3 stories high, my brothers, my sisters, my people. Verse number 17. Step down to 21. Let's get through this storyline here. So after the flood, only remained was Noah and his household. Verse 21. And it reads, the book of Genesis 6, verse number 21. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee. It shall be for food for thee and for them. Verse 22. Thus did Noah, according to all that Yahweh commanded him, so he did. My brothers, my sisters. We're going to drop down the book of 1 Peter. More people at 1 Peter. Let's see if we can get a count of who was left, because we read that only a remnant from the 12 tribes will remain. So let's see during the time of the flood, how many made it, as they say? I made it over, right? How many made it over? My brothers, my sisters, let's get us a head count. In the book of 1 Peter chapter 3, we want to peep at verse number 20. Let's get a head count. How many made it? I made it over, right? Oh, how I made it over. How I made it over. Right. Let's see how many made it over, my brothers. 1 Peter 3, verse 20. We sometimes were disobedient, when once the long-suffering of Yahweh waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a preparing, wherein few, that is, 8 souls, 8 people, were saved by water. So then, but 8 people make it over, my brothers. We're going to go to 2 Peter now. Let's grab us a second witness. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse number 9. Because 2 Peter chapter 2, We want to peep right at verse number 9, and it reads, but is that the one I want? Don't look like it. Verse number 5. we off. We a little bit off. Chapter 5, and it reads, and spare not the old world, but save Noah, the 8 persons, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the Anyakwali. My brothers, my sisters, so in these last days, in order to make it over, you got to be like Noah. You got to be part of the righteous. And to be classified as righteous means you are keeping Yahweh's laws, statutes, and commandments. That's what is right in his eyes, my brothers, my sisters, my people. So we find out that only 8 people, according to what we can read, made it on the other side of the flood. So we read in Ecclesiastes 4, verse 6, that unto of the people there is no end. So you come from one of those trees, and we're going to find out what trees we're referring to. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 10. Verse number, Genesis chapter 10. And we want to peep at verse number 1. Let's count how this thing went down, right? Noah produced 3 boys, right? Let's go grab that before we move on. I want to get a couple of more, and then we're going to get ready to close this out. Genesis chapter 9, verse number 1. And it reads, and Yaakov blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. Drop down to verse number 19. Genesis chapter 9, verse number 19. If I'm not mistaken, these are the 3 sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. Let me see if we can get some names on the table. Let me see if we can get their names. Verse number 18. And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem. Shem was given the eastern world. We can read that in the book of Jubilee. Ham was given the southern world. And Japheth was given the northern world. And the descendants of Japheth was a people of color. So if you exist today, you come from one of these bloodlines, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So let's see what they produce. We're going to go back to Genesis 10, verse number 1. What was produced? Let me see if we can count. How many bloodlines came from the 3 sons of Noah? Genesis 10, verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. Verse number 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madiah, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. So we got how many sons came out of Japheth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bloodlines came from the northern, the people that was given the northern world, right? We're going to drop down to verse number 6. So we got 7 on the table. Verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. So we got 4 more coming from the bloodline of Ham. Ham is the father of the dog races of the southern kingdom, right? Of the southern world. But you had dog races of the northern and the eastern world as well, my brothers. Everybody here is melanated. The sons of Japheth and the sons of Ham. And we're going to drop down. So we got 4 more. That brings our total to 11, right? Go drop down to verse 21, and it reads, the book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 21. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder, even to him were children born. Verse 22, the children of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. So which one of these bloodlines you come through? So we got 16 on the table, right? Let's see the last two nations that hit the table in the book of Genesis, chapter 25. We're going to get right down to it. Verse number 25, and it reads, Genesis 25. Well, let's go back one. Let's make it make sense. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Now the boys was twins, but you read earlier they was two different manner of people. In other words, they act different, they look different. And let's see what would happen to these last two nations. And Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in your womb, and two manner of people shall what be separated. They ain't gonna never see eye to eye. Can you bring that to the date? What two peoples on the earth never see eye to eye? From thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the younger shall serve the elder, and the elder shall serve the younger. Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered was fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Like we read it earlier, they would be separate. They were separate people with two different manners of life, two different appearance. So let's see what different appearance did they take on. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. So Esau is the red man, not the natives. Esau, so-called white man, woman, boy, and girl, came out red all over. So the last two nations were Esau and Jacob. And they still are two separate nations. Now you tell me, when they said separate but equal, who was that between? Was that between the daggone Arab and the Chinaman? When they said you can't drink out of this fountain, who was that? Your fountain is over yonder somewhere. Who was those two people that was separate but equal? My brothers, my sisters, my people. Now we're going to take it easy tonight, so we got to get ready to lay down and recuperate a little bit. So we're going to get ready to close out on this one, but nevertheless, it's been a blast, my brothers, my sisters. We'll be back at it. We have Shabbat class, 7-day class, tomorrow, beginning roughly around 2 p.m. My brothers, my sisters, my people, shalom, 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 Shabbat, shalom.
Never again will you send my people into slavery on slave ships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks. Like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again, never again will you send my people into slavery on slave ships. Never again will you sell them on auction blocks. Like Never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again, never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again. Come down and sit in the dust, oh virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no more throne for you. You will never again sit on the throne and rule. I was brought with my people. I gave them into your hand. You did not show them any mercy, whether they was old or young. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance on you. Yahweh is my name. Never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again, never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again. After glory I will send me to the nation that laid their hands on you. For the nation that touches you is real, touches the apple of his eye. Now Yahweh is so very displeased with the nation that are so at ease, because they forward the affliction to the very extreme degree. Never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again, never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again. I've been born again. My mind's been renewed. Reflections are reflections. Just to take a look back on the life I used to live, and all the things I've been through, all the low down dirty things I used to do. Reflections are reflections. Ooh, reflections are reflections. Ooh, reflections are reflections. Ooh, reflections are reflections. Ooh, reflections are reflections. As I look back on the places I used to go, you know I don't go no more. They're no longer the places I wanna be. They no longer interest me. Reflections of reflections. Ooh, reflections of reflections. Ooh, reflections of reflections. Reflections of reflections. Not the same man I used to be. You were a young one. Got a hold on me. You know I don't do the things I used to. I've been born again. My mind's been renewed. Reflections are reflections. Just to take a look back on the life I used to live, and all the things I've been through, all the low down dirty things I used to do. Reflections are reflections. Ooh, reflections are reflections. Ooh, reflections are reflections. Ooh, reflections are reflections. Ooh, reflections are reflections. As I look back on the places I used to go, you know I don't go no more. They're no longer the places I wanna be. They no longer interest me. Reflections of reflections. Ooh, reflections of reflections. Ooh, reflections of reflections. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will see how difficult life can be. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will find another life, peace of mind. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will know there's gonna be ups and downs for sure. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will see how difficult life can be. When I was a little boy, about the age of 3, sitting on my mama's knees, didn't have no worries, I didn't have no fear, 'cause I knew mama would be right here. But on the other hand, my daddy was gone. Her said he wasn't nothing more than a rolling stone. At the age of 16, you won't believe I never laid eyes on the man they said was my daddy. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will see how difficult life can be. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will find another life, peace of mind. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will know there's gonna be ups and downs for sure. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will see how difficult life can be. Now mama did the best she could with what she had. We never missed a meal, we never was hungry. We had shoes on our feet, clothes on our back, a roof over our head, as a matter of fact. But let me speak to what's meant for a while. If you produce the seed, if you have a child, you just can't walk away from them. And you better say, mama, baby, daddy, maybe. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will see how difficult life can be. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will find another life, peace of mind. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will know there's gonna be ups and downs for sure. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will see how difficult life can be. When I was a little boy, about the age of 3, sitting on my mama's knees, didn't have no worries, I didn't have no fear, 'cause I knew mama would be right here. But on the other hand, my daddy was gone. Her said he wasn't nothing more than a rolling stone. At the age of 16, you won't believe I never laid eyes on the man they said was my daddy. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will see how difficult life can be. Just keep on living, and I'm sure you will find another life, peace of mind. Just keep on living, and I'm sure just keep on living. And I'm sure you will know there's gonna be ups and downs for sure. Just keep on living. And I'm sure you will see how difficult life can be. Never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again, never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you sell them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again. After glory I will send me to the nation that lays their hands on you. For the nation that touches you is real, touches the apple of his eye. Now Yahweh is so very displeased with the nation that are so at ease, because they forward the affliction to the very extreme degree. Never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again, never again will you send my people into slavery on spaceships. Never again will you send them on auction blocks like there's nothing more than livestock. Never again, never again. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no more throne for you. You will never again sit on the throne and rule. I was brought with my people. I gave them into your hand. You did not show them any mercy, whether they was old or young. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance on you. Yahweh is my name. Never